Hello! Welcome to Anime Mystics. I'm Roman, and tonight I am watching Little Witch Academia Episode 6. So, last episode, Akko and one of the other girls, I cannot remember her name, were arguing and got into trouble during class. I believe it was one of the potion classes or something like that. Basically, they made a mess. They knocked over one of the potions. It did a whole bunch of stuff, and then what's her name? Diana. Yeah, Diana ended up reversing it and fixing everything. So basically, they were told that they needed to go and do all the laundry in the school by hand. Or actually, they did something before that. What were they doing? I forget what it was they were doing. But they ended up seeing a bunch of dragons come by and steal the Sorcerer's Stone? Is it the Philosopher's Stone? It's one of the two. So they come by, they steal it, and they go to the teachers to tell them. Especially, and mostly they would go to the principal's office, but there's like a meeting going on. But they end up telling them, a bunch of dragons just came and took the stone. We needed to do our magic. What are we going to do? It's not like Akko has been able to use much magic anyway, so... But for the others, and whenever she does gain some magic ability, they basically said that they're handling it, and they get mad at them because they're supposed to be punished, but they're up there, and that's when they send them to the basement to do the laundry by hand. And they're joined by a bunch of their friends. Basically, they're not doing a very good job. Mainly because they want to go and get the stone back. So they're not really focusing. But Diana shows up and starts going on about how they just need to do what they're told and blah, blah, blah. And then that makes Akko even angrier. And now she's more determined to go and get the stone back to prove Diana wrong. And her and the other girl that she was arguing with decide, yep, we're going to go. We're going to go do this. We're getting this stone back. And a bunch of the other girls, Susie, a lot, and a couple of others that I don't think we've really seen that often, all go. They're attacked by a bunch of flying dragons, and they end up fighting, well, not really fighting them off, but they do kill one of them, and it turns out it's a robot. And then the rest of them are taken hostage. Except for Akko, I believe, who ends up going into the dragon's castle, and she doesn't free them, but she sees the dragon that's living there, and he lets them out of the cage that they're in. And then the lights come on, and you see he's just some old dragon in like a robe with a bunch of computers around. And they're asking him for the Philosopher's Stone back, or whatever stone it is, and he's saying, nope, not happening. Your school owes me a lot of money. And I told them that I would be taking the stone the next time they didn't pay me. So apparently they owe Fafnir, that's the name of the dragon, a large amount of money. Meanwhile, back at the school, one of the teachers, the one that's always yelling at Akko and them, is reading the or trying... She's looking at the contract. She can't actually read it. It's written in, like, dragon script, and nobody knows how to read it. Except for Diana, of course, because she can do everything. So she reads it, and then they cut back to the castle where the principal is trying to plead with Fafnir to, give them some more time, they need, it's been tough on them because they haven't been getting as many students lately. And he's basically saying, it's not my problem. You got to get me my money. Otherwise, you don't get the stone back. And that's when Diana and the other teachers show up, and she's basically telling him, I was able to read your contract. Basically, he was asking for interest. But there's nothing in the contract that mentions... there's nothing in there that mentions interest at all. So they've technically never had to pay interest. He just added that on because he knew nobody else could read the dragon script. He didn't count on Diana being there, who learned how to read it. And they get the stone back, and I guess she's like, well, we'll be back later to discuss how you're going to repay all that money we've given you. For interest that they didn't even need to pay back. Meanwhile, Akko and the other girl are still in trouble, and they're told to go back and do the laundry, which they end up going to do. And her and the other girl get a kind of like a better understanding, like mutual understanding with each other about, basically because they thought exactly the same when it came to the dragon. They realized they have quite a bit in common, I guess. So they understand each other. But they still argue. A lot. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen in this episode, seeing as how I never watched the previews. So let's get into this episode and see what's going on. There we go. Video is going to be located over here, and the link to the reaction is going to be in the description down below. And we're going to start this episode in 3, 2, 1.